What about output buffer dysgraphia?
That's when we're spelling, we have to retrieve all the different letters of the word. Let's suppose it's the word elephant. 8 letters. And once you've written the E, you've got to get the L from somewhere. And once you've written the L, you've got to get the next E from somewhere. And you don't have to go back and look at your knowledge of all the spellings of English words to keep looking at for the spelling of elephant. What's much easier and good spellers do is they take the letters of elephant and they store it in a temporary little memory that just contain those 8 letters. And so as you look for the next letter, you've only got to go back to this little memory, which is called the spelling buffer. Mm-hmm. And so you go E, then you go to L, then you go to E, then you go to P. And if that buffer is too small, if it doesn't contain 8 letters, then after you've got to say the P in elephant, there's nothing left because the buffer hasn't got any more slots. So then you've got to go back to your knowledge of the spelling of elephant and fill the rest of the slots. Mm-hmm. So if you've got that problem, you're going to be good at spelling short words, but bad at spelling long words. And so that's the way of diagnosing this particular kind of spelling problem. Short words are okay, even if they're really quite rare, but long words are not because the buffer overflows and you have to go back and get the rest of the spelling. Mm-hmm. So if you have a child who's good at spelling short words, but not long words, then that's a spelling buffer problem. And you need to focus on trying to get that buffer to be bigger and bigger so that it will hold 8 letters rather than just 4.
Now, do you feel that breaking a word down into syllables helps with this?
It might well, though, of course, when you break a word down into syllables, the spelling of the syllable might be, imagine when you break the word elephant into the syllables L, F, ant. Mm-hmm. And so you just put F. How do you know whether to spell that with a PH or an F?
Right.
But if you can retrieve the correct spelling mm-hmm. and put the P and the H in your buffer, mm-hmm. then when you come to the P, you'll get it right. When you come to the H, you'll get it right. So breaking it down into syllables, it doesn't look like a good way to go. It looks like, I don't know of any research on this, but my guess is that the way to do it would be to find out how big the child's buffer is by saying, how long is the longest word the child can spell easily? And let's suppose it's 4. So if you give the child a 4-letter word, they get it right. If you give them a 5-letter word, they start to get the end of it wrong, like the last letter, because that can't be put in the buffer. And so you have a treatment method that mixes up 4 and 5-letter words, tries to get them to become able to spell that elusive 5th letter.
Right.
If you find that this is working, and now they can spell 5-letter words, and you go on to 6-letter words. I'm just talking about this off the top of my head. That's what I would do if I were doing research in this area. But the important thing is you know what this child's spelling problem is. It isn't they don't know sound letter rules, mm-hmm. and it isn't they haven't got whole word spelling stored. Both of those are okay. But to get the spellings out onto the page, you've got to go through this buffer. Mm-hmm. And if the buffer isn't long enough, then you're going to have a problem with long words. And we can see that in the children who can spell short words but can't spell long words.
Right.